I just want to really start today's webinar citing advancing your hospitality communications. You know, I've spent many years as a general manager of hotels, and I know how important the actual infrastructure of communications is. And I'm particularly delighted that we have both of these companies here with us today to talk about the actual connectivity with communications and revenue generation. So Jared and Simon and Nikki, thank you so much for making this possible today. I'd like to start by acknowledging that I would invite all of you, wherever you may be around the province, I am on the ancestral and unceded territory of the Squamish, the Musqueam, and the Tsleil-Waututh people, and I'm deeply grateful for their care of these lands from time immemorial to today. I thank them for the honor to live, work, and play on these incredible lands, and these are the lands in which we do our business today. We all know how important guest interactions are in our business. You know, this is hospitality. It's all about people. It's all about communications. Having a reliable telecom system goes a long way in providing top-notch customer service. But technology moves quickly, and so we have invited two subject matter experts to speak to how you can streamline communication for a smoother guest experience. You know, we used to say that whatever was occurring within a hotel room needs to be better than whatever the technology was that people had in their homes. Because when they come to a hotel, they have this expectation that whatever they're familiar with at home, it's either something better or something greater or something that assists them in different ways. And that certainly has not changed over the years. First, we have Jared Hammer, Account Manager and Hospitality Specialist at Sunco Communications and Installation. Jared has a deep history also working in hotels, and that gives him the foresight and insight to the actual operations. Additionally, Sunco is a trusted partner and an allied member of BCHA. They help hotels and organizations optimize their communication systems, specializing in business telecom and managed IT solutions. Also with us today is Simon Smith, and Simon is actually speaking first today. Simon is the Director of Sales Engineering at Mitel. Mitel is a global leader in business communications, and they provide innovative communication services aimed at improving the customer experience. So you can see how these two things dovetail together. I have indicated that the webinar is being recorded, that we will share it. The slides also will be shared. Use the Q&A function at the bottom. We'll pop a question in there so that you can see. And we have about 10 to 15 minutes at the end to answer these questions. Without further ado, I'd like to hand things over to Simon to get us started. Simon, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ingrid. And it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I welcome the opportunity to discuss this information with you. So I've been with Mitel for about 22 years. However, a lot of people don't realize that Mitel is actually over 50 years old now, and one of the few Canadian telecommunications manufacturers in Canada. We're headquartered out of Ottawa, Ontario, which is actually where I'm based out of, and have been a resident there with Mitel, like I said, for the last 22 years. Hospitality has absolutely been a core and critical industry for Mitel, and then one that we have sought to address and make sure that we are doing our utmost to provide that guest experience for hotel properties in the hospitality market. It's a significant driver for us, and one that we have been in tune with for, as I mentioned, over 50 years. I won't go through every single item here on this slide, but really just to indicate, you know, this is a vertical for us that's near and dear. And many properties globally have the Mitel Hospitality solution that we'll be discussing a little bit today. So with hospitality, we fully understand there's many ongoing challenges, as there are with lots of different verticals. It's recruiting and retaining staff, while dealing with the ever-growing expectations of the guest experience, is a particular challenge. I'm sure many folks are aware, vendor management, with the different communication solutions integrators, trying to stay abreast with those communication needs and different technologies, and understanding how those different technologies can integrate in order to increase that guest experience is definitely a challenge, coordinating those different pieces. And then ultimately staying up to date with that technology. Guests are ever evolving, and the way that they communicate, the way that they want to interact with the properties, is ever changing. These are just some statistics on the last couple of years, and obviously with the pandemic occurring, really did escalate and advance, and change the way that guests do want to interact with property and share information and communicate with the hospitality market. Smartphones, the ability to look and view and see information on websites and social media, all play a large role in how the typical guest wants to interact with the hotel property of choice. And the way that properties need to share information back to the guest is also ever evolving, and more detail being asked for in many myriad different ways and on the devices that the guest is preferred to choose. So this is an area that Mitel has seen quite a bit of change and quite a bit of growth, depending on where you look and how you interact with those guests. So it's not just phone systems and talking to people over a device. There's an ever evolving journey here as well with the guest experience, as we've touched on the previous slides. So, typically legacy, when Mitel started out 50 years ago, it was a voice touch point, right? We would typically call in, find out if there's rooms available, ask questions of the property. And that has started to evolve, where we go into, multi-channel. Many properties now have different channels that they can interact with their customers. Part of the issue that we have and some of the challenges, a lot of that knowledge, information, those operations, while they exist, they end up in a bit of a technical as well as functional silo, which means, sharing some of that information and those data points and understanding the guest and the guest experience becomes a little more challenged. More and more of our customers within the hospitality market have been transitioning into more of a cross-channel phase. So, the ability to have multiple channels of integration or interaction with their guests, handled by, a singular view or a singular department and individuals. So this is where we start to see a blend of the ability to have multiple touch points as part of a same brand or same property, and start to get a more singular view of that guest and the guest experience, in some of that data. Ultimately, as we move forward, more and more of our guests are trying to aspire to this, the nirvana, as we call it, where we have a full omni-channel capability. And this is really where that guest can now start to interact with the property, based on the device and based on the channel that is preferred to them. There's no siloed views anymore, and we're able to share that analytics and that data across all these different media and devices, and really start to provide the property with that singular holistic view of that guest, in a more coordinated, and ultimately be able to be a bit more strategic in the way that they're interacting with those guests and elevate that guest experience moving forward. And that's really where we're starting to see a blend of, all of these different technologies starting to come together and leverage to increase that guest experience. Now, AI is a bit of a beast. It's definitely a buzzword that we've been seeing across many different industries, hospitality as well. Mitel's view on this is really try to introduce AI in an effective manner. It can be an overwhelming, statement, artificial intelligence. But really our goal here is to help boost efficiencies within the operations of the property. So that could be not just guest experience, but also staff efficiencies and workflows. So, we have customers that are starting to look at providing the ability, when a guest does call into room service or housekeeping, it's actually an interaction with AI where we're able to integrate and pull data from the customer, or sorry, the guest, and fulfill simple requests without the need for live transaction every single time, and then integrate with different devices and different departments to sort of automate some of those requests and provide the ultimate experience for those guests. For instance, something simple like even just asking for extra pillows when a guest has come up to their room, we can initiate and automate a lot of those requests in through housekeeping and provide the resolution to those types of requests in a very efficient manner. Other ways of introducing AI is also providing some conversational AI capabilities where not all information is necessarily available on websites for all properties. Sometimes guests still call in, do you have a kids menu for your dining staff restaurant on property? Simple questions like this that we can easily address through technology integration. So Mitel Hospitality Solutions really tries to take all of that information, all these trends that we're starting to see, and really try to create a simple and seamless solution for our customers. So simplicity in how it's being deployed, an understanding of the breadth of communications and the different collaboration solutions that are required for potentially back office, as well as the solution set that's going to be leveraged with guests directly. The ability to deliver customer value while still understanding that cost is an ultimate concern. Definitely is a core piece of our solution set and understanding with the business. Being heritage, 50 plus years, we're continuing to innovate. So while we have over 50 years of voice solutions experience in manufacturing, we continue to innovate with a lot of these different technologies that are coming to the forefront. AI being one of those, the ability to pivot and have an omni-channel experience for your guests are all things that continue to evolve and we continue to innovate against. And most importantly, we have partners that will meet you in your own market. So while Mitel has a global partner channel, we need to have those local tech experts to make sure that the feature sets and the capabilities and the solution will ultimately provide that superior guest experience that your guests are expecting and will ultimately help drive revenue for your property. So the solution really does touch on many aspects of the overall property, from back office systems to the front desk, housekeeping, maintenance staff. Depending on the type of property that we have other services and amenities that are available. And we have devices and integrations that allow for seamless communication throughout the property or resort, depending on the nature and level of service of the property. Integration is a very key element to maintaining a modernized technology stack. So the ability to integrate with some of the latest capabilities, understanding within the hospitality market, who are some of the bigger players for potentially call accounting, social media, really Mitel takes a look at who are some of the top trending vendors in certain areas and make sure that we have valid, fully prepared, out of the box integration capabilities for our customers. Because we know that these are going to be some of the things that are asked for in order to enhance and create that guest experience for that property. So this is an ever evolving matrix and expansion of different elements that we will absolutely integrate with as technology grows. So how do we deploy the solution? Cloud was another buzzword several years ago, much like AI is today. And yet legacy, we still have the purpose-built hardware as well. So typically controllers are introduced for certain functions or environmental needs, such as analog connections or physical connections that are needed, because not all properties can go and just rewire. My light's just gone off in the office that I'm in anyway. Hopefully you can still see me. So, for properties to go and recable full IP all over the property, that's just unrealistic, and that's not a cost, and that's not a cost that you want to be taking on. So hardware and some of this purpose-built hardware is a necessity in order to help keep some of those costs low and integrate with that legacy technology. The ability to implement or deploy within a private cloud or public cloud. So, Sunco, one of our top hospitality partners in Canada, absolutely can provide hosting and managed services to be able to deploy a fully feature-rich solution set for our hospitality customers. And these are some of the technologies that we can absolutely deploy into. And really, we see a lot of our hospitality customers enjoy this hybrid approach. So for some of the reasons I stated, where it's unrealistic to recable and remove all of that legacy technology, we still need some of that purpose-built hardware. And where we can invest in and really show efficiencies in costing and really show value is in some of the software integrations, and use that to really start to enhance your guest experience. So it's a good blend of the two estates. For new customers and ongoing customers within the hospitality space, we absolutely, the traditional capital expenditure is something that's been going on for many decades, where you can acquire the solution set, you fully own it, and you own it for the life of the solution as you move forward. With the advent of cloud and hybrid deployments, we now have subscription procurement models as well. So the ability to sign up for a subscription and leverage this as an OpEx procurement rather than a full CapEx provides a lot of flexibility for our customers. So the nice thing here is we're able to satisfy really the procurement method that is top of mind for our particular customers. The Mitel Hospitality Solution doesn't require one or the other. We don't force a particular situation. It's completely up to the preferred procurement method for our customers. And as I mentioned, we can deploy on premise where we're located at the property with some of that purpose-built hardware. But more and more, some of our customers are deploying into the cloud. A key element of the hospitality solution from Mitel and Sunco is each customer has their own dedicated instance. And what I mean by this is a dedicated instance is a purpose-built solution for that customer specifically. So why do we do this? Really, it allows for full control for our customers. You determine when is convenient for you to upgrade. You determine the types of features and functionality that you want implemented for your solution. UCaaS, for instance, doesn't allow for some of that. You are provided with feature sets, and then all of a sudden, 3 months later, you've got some new feature sets that are implemented. Sometimes that's not great for, training of staff and understanding exactly what's going on with your solution. Local survivability is absolutely of paramount, right? So we want to make sure that the solution has a minimum 5 nines availability so that when that guest is trying to reach the property, that they're going to make that connection. No matter which channel that is being leveraged there to make that interaction or that request from the guest. Dedicated instances allow for a lot more flexibility to integrate with the different applications and the other core critical applications of choice for that property. Allows us to be very flexible and customize different business workflows that are integral and critical for the specific property that is implementing the solution. And then lastly, security. So the data is stored within your own environment. There's no shared data with any other customers in these situations. Downtime, data breaches, cloud is becoming almost synonymous with that sometimes, depending on the type of cloud and the service that you're looking at. And these are all challenges that dedicated instances and bespoke instances for our customers that we do our best to avoid. And these are avoidable challenges that can absolutely be a detriment to the reputation and the brand for the hotel and the properties that are involved. Which in turn potentially decreases your revenue. So this is something that we absolutely look at and make sure that we stay on top of. And lastly, I believe my final slide is security and compliance. So our phones are fully designed in Canada. Data privacy, security is definitely something that is top of mind for a lot of our customers, and hospitality is no different. So personal protected data, when people check out, that guest data is removed from the Mitel solution set. So if our voicemail messages or any other guest information, that does get removed. And is now available and empty for the next guest to check into the property. Dedicated instances do mean, and I've mentioned this before, the data is never mixed with anybody else's data. So it's important to note that, if there is a breach within an environment, your data is contained and is secured within that dedicated instance rather than it being a shared platform with potentially other customer information. And I believe now I will hand it over to Jared. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Simon. And I'll start off maybe just going a quick overview of Sunco for people who aren't familiar with us. But I think the main takeaway I hope many of you have from this webinar is just that your technology isn't just used for one thing anymore. You have many bits of technology and it can all intertwine and work with each other. Modern technology anyway. There's no reason that it shouldn't, and we're here to help you as well. So Sunco Communication has a strong presence in hospitality industry, certainly with customers from coast to coast, a couple in the US as well. And we provide comprehensive phone, internet, IT, and network solutions that enhance your guest experiences, but also streamline your operations. We have over 20 years of experience, and Sunco has earned a reputation as a trusted systems integrator, offering tailored services that meet the unique needs of each client. And no one property that I have met has been the same. We're able to tailor those specifically to what you need. As a Mitel Hospitality Specialist as well, Sunco has access to their leading tools and support from people like Simon, who can jump on a call and figure out exactly what a customer maybe needs and how we can tailor those technology solutions to meet those needs. That partnership allows Sunco to offer a range of solutions from basic on-premise systems, as Simon had mentioned, to IP systems that are advanced like Mitel's MyVoice Hospitality. Overall, our role in hospitality communication is to just provide innovative, reliable, and cost-effective solutions to help hotels and hospitality businesses enhance their guest experiences and achieve your operational goals. The first thing I want to get into is just embracing that seamless and contactless solution. So according to a Trends Global Survey back in 2023, they haven't released their 2024 one yet, but 80% of global travelers surveyed feel it's important to be able to book their trips entirely online. And that comes with 86% of millennials and 83% of Gen Zers leading that charge. So we're certainly seeing kind of a shift in today's traveler. Furthermore, 76% of global travelers said they look for travel apps that reduce the friction and stress when they're traveling. So your properties can really lean into those consumer desires by using unified communication tools to offer things like contactless check-in, room service, as well as digital room keys, which will help reduce wait time for your guests and then also free up your staff's time so that they're doing important things. And what I really like about these contactless solutions is that it automates the unpleasant parts of your customer stay and frankly your staff's jobs, allowing your staff to actually connect with guests, kind of make recommendations and be a travel guide to people staying at your property and build that trust with your consumers. We'll take a look at boosting guest satisfaction. Effective communication is essential in your industry because it's significantly impacting guest experience. With poor communication, that can lead to dissatisfaction and negative reviews, while effective communication will lead to positive reviews and then repeat business. Ensuring guests can easily reach your property and having quick and efficient communication can reduce any missed reservations. And a well-maintained phone system, of course, fast and reliable voice and internet services will help to optimize those guest experiences and earn you those nice 5-star reviews. Another big feature, of course, is real-time messaging with your guests. Not only is this helpful with guest safety, in case there's an emergency on site, you can quickly let people know. But I've seen some properties as well use this as an upsell and feature to grow revenue, which of course we wanted to focus on today. One property that we work with, they send out messages to their guests letting them know that happy hour is on in the lounge. Of course, you could do many different things like suggesting room upgrades, promoting any spa services, or any other activities or packages that you offer at the site. You can send quick, pretty non-invasive messages to your customers, just letting them know, hey, in case you didn't know, we offer this service, you should check it out. And then that also allows your staff and your ability to upsell, again, in a pretty non-invasive way, just letting them know what you have to offer. In terms of enhancing booking experience, that'll also lead to higher conversion rates. Probably the main pushback I get from general managers or owners that I've spoken with is that they don't think their phone system is overly important because guests hardly use their room phones anymore. I always say, yeah, you're completely right. Guest phones really aren't that important to the hotel anymore, but overall your phones are still critical to your business. In many cases, Your phones might be the first actual interaction that your guests have with your hotel when someone calls in. And that call can set the expectation for the level of customer service that they can expect during their stay. So of course, people are searching you online, but they're not actually interacting with you yet. You can have nice photos and they can learn a lot about you, but you can really set the tone with that customer service level from the very first call. One study found that 60% of callers wouldn't wait on hold for more than a minute. And at 5 minutes, over 90% of them would just hang up, which is pretty long, to be honest, to be waiting on hold for 5 minutes. I'd probably hang up too. As you all know, the hospitality industry is highly competitive. So that means if you can't connect your guests quickly to your front desk staff for bookings, within that first minute of calling, 60% are just going to move on to the next option. And then that is lost revenue. An auto attendant will also help your guests get to the right contact at your site faster, and by routing their call to the reservations, sales, or the restaurant parts of your business. So no waiting on hold and no waiting time with your staff trying to find the right contact. The person calling in will be able to specifically prompt who they want to speak with and get connected with that department quickly. On that note, let's talk maybe a little bit about enhancing your staff productivity. Your phone system can integrate right into your PMS system. As Simon had mentioned, a lot of integrations with many different things around your site, but this can also improve your staff's efficiency by allowing housekeeping to quickly dial in to report the room has been cleaned and now just requires a final inspection prior to the next guest. It also adds some great personal touch, as when your guests call the front desks, their name will just be displayed for the front desk person answering that phone, and you can address them with their first name, just adding that next level personal touch. Another good real life example that we've had is any maintenance issue can be resolved quite quickly by routing calls to the appropriate team member's cell phone. So as they come in, it will call to both their desk phone if they have one of those, but then if that's not picked up in a certain amount of time, it will forward on to someone's cell phone. So no matter where they are at on your property, your staff can answer calls and get situations addressed pretty quickly instead of just playing phone tag. We're talking about literally just the push of a couple buttons to be able to connect people. Another really insightful part of our Mitel systems that we introduce into properties is data insights and smart revenue decisions. So if your phone system is still just being used to make and receive phone calls, you're probably at a severe disadvantage to some sites. And I get why you may feel that your phones aren't important to your operation if you're just placing calls. The modern hospitality phone system can integrate with powerful call accounting software, and that gives us some pretty robust data sets to help you fully understand how many potential reservations are going unanswered, what days and times your site might be receiving the highest call volume, and then in turn you can staff more people and have them on standby to answer calls, or more people at the front desk to assist with check-in while those calls are not going missed or having people wait on hold for very long. Taking a look just at supporting revenue generating applications, here again are just a few of the applications that the phone system can actually integrate with to help automate your processes. Much more than just making a phone call. That PMS feature that I had mentioned, integrating right in. Workflow efficiencies, you'll be able to coordinate with housekeeping, maintenance, and the front desk, minimizing any downtime and ensuring that your rooms are always ready. And then finally, promotion delivery. Custom integrations allow you to show real-time offers to your guests, such as discounts, upselling, and the likes. And finally, I also wanted to really touch on the role of reliable Wi-Fi and internet at your hotel. And this is one aspect that, from my experiences speaking with general managers and owners, it is just an operational cost to your internet right now. But there are ways that we can turn this into a revenue opportunity. Either your guests would be able to supplement that OPEX cost of your internet, or if enough people are signing up, you can actually drive it into revenue as well. Today, as you guys know, internet is one of the most important aspects of your business, both for your guests and how you operate as well. And that internet connection can drive revenue in two ways, both repeat business and then upsells, as I had just mentioned. A survey by Hotel Internet Services reported that more than 90% of your guests consider access to hotel Wi-Fi very important, and 85% stated that Wi-Fi quality would affect their decision to rebook with a specific property or a hotel brand in general. As for business travelers, according to a survey by Roomit, 84% said they'd prioritize Wi-Fi access over other factors such as their room rate and proximity to the business site or a conference they may be staying at if that's off-site. Another study by Motorola Solutions said that 1/3 of business travelers they surveyed said that they would not return to a hotel if it failed to meet that expectation. We can help you improve both reliability and speed with our Sunco Always On service. Typically, a business will have 2 internet connections, not necessarily everybody, but if you have 2 and you're only using one at one point in time, you have the primary one that you're using, and then that secondary internet connection will just sit on standby, costing you money. Again, the bill comes due every month and you're paying for it. And it's just sitting there on standby, not in use until you have a problem and you have to switch over to that connection because your primary one has issues. But with our service, it utilizes technology that actually allows you to put both of those connections to work at the same time. You can combine both speeds to increase your overall bandwidth and ensure that you have 99% uptime by automatically failing over to one connection should the other have an outage. Finally, Sunco Always On allows you to set up tiered internet services that can drive upselling opportunities with VIP Wi-Fi. A very easy add-on for your business travelers, and one I have spoken with a lot of business travelers. They said that they would easily tack that on. The company is paying for it, and to ensure that you're able to sufficiently do video conferencing, webinars, and callouts is just kind of a no-brainer to have that improved Wi-Fi speed. It's also a very nice and simple add-on to just bake into your cost for conferences and meeting rooms or booking spaces into your property. Just by including that and saying, hey, here's the Wi-Fi code for your guests. You're not just using the run-of-the-mill Wi-Fi on site. You can just bake that into your costs and up the cost of your rentals a little bit more. And also help you stand out as a top venue when people are booking conferences or the likes. So finally, in my opinion, I think our most unique value proposition to customers is acting as a telecom broker for them. As a wholesale partner with TELUS, Rogers, and Bell, we're able to shop around on our customers' behalf and force the big telecom players to truly play nice and put their best offer forward, as well as the best service forward. The cherry on top, of course, is that you and your staff never have to actually deal with those companies. I know that their customer service can be frustrating, and that's what Sunco's here to do. We'll act as the arm of your business, looking after that telecom, and we will progress tickets. If there are any outages, any service disruptions, we handle that for you, and then we will also negotiate on your behalf and pass on all those savings that we're able to provide. And that will just allow you guys to focus on the aspects of your business that you're experts in, and you can lean on us to handle what we're experts in, and that is technology. And that will conclude my proportion of the presentation. Of course, if you're curious about anything that we've talked about today, please don't hesitate to reach out. I'd be happy to book some time to get to know your individual hotel and its needs a little bit better. As both Simon and I have mentioned, every site is a little bit different. We'd be happy to learn about what technology struggles you guys are facing and how some modern technology might be able to help solve those problems.
Thank
we'll
you
go
so
to
much.
some questions. Yeah, thank you, Ingrid.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jared, and thank you, Simon. I'm having a hard time reading the Q&A. I think there may be a block there, but we can use the chat function. And I've got a couple of questions here that I'll read out. And between the two of you, you decide who you'd like, who's best to answer the question. I'm thinking of upgrading to Mitel, but I've already invested heavily in my current hardware and don't want to replace it. What are my options?
I could take that one, Simon, just off the top. Working with a lot of customers, sometimes that is the case. We are always in the business of saving our customers money first and foremost. So maybe there's just simple aspects of your current system that you're not happy with and you want to improve. So we could upgrade to a Mitel SMB controller with more feature-rich capabilities, as Simon's one slide had mentioned. And then we can keep things at your site, like your guest rooms the same, some of your other handsets we can keep the same until time comes when either those break or your budget maybe allows you to look at upgrading the full suite. So we can kind of stage things that way, again, to just meet your guys' needs, see what you have on site that we can keep, and things that you can get away with currently, and then upgrade to some of the other stuff that is a little more important and mission critical. Anything maybe else you'd like to add, Simon?
And no, I think you hit the nail on the head with that one. So absolutely, it doesn't have to be a quote unquote rip and replace situation. So
It's
introduce
always a relief for somebody to hear,
yeah,
Simon,
no,
that you can patch in or add to, or, sort of take existing infrastructure and actually upgrade it to some degree based on need is always a really great bit of information. I've got a question in the Q&A here as who should they contact if they want to upgrade their Mitel? Would that be you, Simon, or Jared?
They can, if they're not certain who their current partner is, so if they're not sure who's actually servicing and supporting their existing Mitel solution, they can absolutely reach out to me and I can help direct to the appropriate individual. If you're looking to perform those upgrades, and we can have a quick conversation and then we'll figure out who is the best person to satisfy.
Great, great, thanks. Here's another question. Everywhere in hospitality, there's a push for instant messaging and AI. But is it actually worth the investment? A lot of people I've spoken to think it takes away the personal touch. Others suggest that it actually adds to personal touch. Any successful examples on implementing them?
Yeah, so AI, it is a big beast and a big monster, and I guess what I'll say is it all depends on how you're implementing it. And this is why our approach typically is to, because implementing is one thing and accepting a new technology is one thing, but then understanding how it's going to, enhance and improve your business is a whole other situation, right? And how your guests are adopting it as well, that they need to adopt it if it's going to be successful. So really our approach is to find those sort of quick wins. And it's really a marriage between how far you go with the technology, and then when is the appropriate time to bring in the live body or the live answer sort of situation where you've got, somebody at the hotel that is responding live with that guest to enhance the experience. So we do have customers that are starting to adopt those technologies. It is fairly new for pretty much everybody these days. But the ones that are being successful are the ones that are not trying to solve all world problems at the property with AI. They're trying to find those areas where it will show enhancement. And that's part of the discovery and part of the discussions that need to happen ahead of time in order to make it successful.
Yeah, that makes sense, certainly.
And I'd even add in there, just kind of going back to my one slide I had mentioned, we can automate a lot of things. We've got different guests who want to do things virtually, and that's great for them to be able to do it. But there's other clientele who come in and want things face to face. They're going to come down to the front desk, right? So it's not going to take away anything from that. And your front desk agents and your hotel staff can really lean into the personal touch of providing things in person when they talk to people, and it'll just free up some more time instead of answering those calls to send towels up to the room or just minor things. We can have some AI handle a lot of that, right?
Yeah, and I think the instant messaging as well, very often if you're arriving, if you have an early arrival, they'll let you know whether or not your room is available, and you'll get a text message, or you get to your room and it's somebody saying, just checking in, how is everything with your room? Do you need anything at all? It's not actually, being able to have the instant messaging where, there's sort of a program around a warm touch to confirm. I think those kind of things really add to the ability to be, time using people's time really well, but also anticipating the guest needs. And I think the instant messaging as well is something that is very, very valuable for the front line. Here's one more question for you. What if there is only one internet option available in my location? What do I do then? I know we were talking about dual internet there. Maybe would one of you like to answer that?
Yeah, absolutely. So our Sunco Always On service can, as I mentioned, combine two internet connections, but it will also be able to utilize an LTE data connection, just like your cell phone using a SIM card. We can plug it into there. So there you have two connections. It will monitor your main one. And if anything happens, it'll switch over automatically to that LTE backup, which of course generally is a little bit slower than a pure fiber internet connection. But at least it will keep your business operational and be able to run mission critical or business critical applications off of that solution while we figure out what is wrong with your main connection and get it back up and running. A couple instances as well. I've worked with some places up north in the Northwest Territories, and we've been able to twin their internet connections with Starlink as well. So that is a really good backup connection for some places that are remote and don't have great options available to them. Starlink is pretty solid and will also work with that solution.
Right. Oh, great. Thank you. Do either of you have sort of the most common asked questions from properties that maybe you haven't already included? I'm not seeing any more questions in the Q&A here, but if anybody online has some questions, please pop them in there. We're more than happy to answer them for you. Simon or Gareth, do either one of you have any final comments?
No, I think one of the top ones has already been asked for sure, which is, do I have to replace everything?
Yeah.
It's all a journey. So introducing new technology, including the Mitel solution set, we will look at working with our partners like Sunco and determining where is it best to spend your investment, your money and your investment. And then adopting new technologies, that's a different approach for everyone. So depending on the level of service for your property, you know, the types of needs that you have, that does vary a fair bit. So having the ability and really investing time in the discovery, allowing us to understand your business and your business needs and the challenges that you specifically have been having will absolutely lend itself to a much better experience as we adopt new technologies with you. And that's the last comment I'll make is it's absolutely a journey along with you. We like to stay engaged, not just with our partners at Mitel, but also with our end customers as well. So a lot of times we'll be at the table with our partners like Sunco having those discussions.
Yeah,
Right.
and then in Simon's one slide, he really addressed it, but the budgetary, the CapEx versus OpEx, a lot of customers I speak with, we provide them with two solutions just so that they can see what fits their needs best. Some want to pay the one lump sum in order to get all the equipment on site and installed, and then they own it for its lifetime. Others are happier to just have that OpEx, and both are available. And then the final thing I would say, Ingrid, Simon kind of mentioned it there, but even though I'm in sales, I think we all really despise going somewhere and being sold something where we are told we have to get all of it or none of it. I despise that, and Sunco and Mitel both certainly do not operate that way. When you come to us and you have your main problem, like Simon said, we're going to go along that journey with you, find out what that is. I'd be happy to speak with all of your problems and address those down the road, but it's not going to be just one size fits all, or you have to take it all or leave it. We're going to find out what works for you, because it can definitely be a little bit overwhelming to implement a lot of these solutions. So a partnership, I will harken back to once again, just to be your partner in technology and help look after that for you.
Yeah, thank you, Jared. I know that you know, we're operational experts, we're actual people experts, we're, you know, experts in food and beverage and on revenue management, et cetera, and the guest experience. But, you know, very often this is an area that unless you have a really robust team, you're really dependent on reputable and trusted suppliers and partners like yourselves. And I know for many years, I'm very well acquainted with with Mitel. And Simon, I really appreciated you sort of showing that slide of 50 years of experience. I think over the ages, I can only imagine the stories that you can tell of where it was 50 years ago and where it is today and all of those changes. And, it's not slowing down anytime soon. So being able to have yourselves and your teams and partners like Sunco to make sure that you're there to support the industry is really, really valuable. Not seeing any additional questions. Can I do one more call out? I don't want anybody to be sort of left out if you've got a burning question. But I will tell you that both Simon and Jared and Nikki are more than happy to connect with you directly or connect you with the person most appropriate in your region or for your hotel company. And following the webinar, we will take the recording, we will upload it, we'll have the slides prepared, and we will be sending that out. We have our newsletter going out, and we also will be sending to everybody that's registered for today's webinar a direct link to the recording as well as the contact information. Jared, Simon, do you have any last comments that you'd like to make?
Just thank you very much for everyone's time. I know time is extremely valuable, so absolutely appreciate the opportunity to have this discussion. Thank you.
Yeah, and I just want to acknowledge what amazing partners both of you have been and how important your company and your expertise are for our members. And thank you both for sharing your wisdom today with the industry. And again, I just encourage anybody on the webinar today to reach out directly should you have additional questions and want contact information. So all the very best. Thank you for joining us. Do take the best of care.